Hello again, my little people. Today we are going to do 2-point perspective drawing. So we know that 1-point perspective is like when you are looking straight down a road like we did a few weeks ago. But 2-point perspective is where it looks like you're standing on a corner and you can see down 2 roads at once. So what you're going to need for this is actually 2 pieces of paper. So one needs to be pretty big, and since I didn't have one that was pretty big, I taped 2 together. You're going to need your paper that you're actually going to be drawing on. You're going to need some pencils and erasers. I've got mine in a little flower pot right now. And you're also going to need a ruler or some sort of straight edge. We know that we need one of those. By the way, don't worry too much about the background paper because you're going to end up throwing this away. But you just need it because your 2 points for your 2-point perspective need to be off your actual drawing paper for it to look a little bit more realistic. So once you've got the big paper, it can be a piece of newspaper if you want, lay down your drawing paper, and it's a really good idea to tape it down. So we are also going to need a little bit of tape, and just the tiniest bit's going to work. And I've got painter's tape because that's what I've got. So I'm going to tape that down. Okay, now we're ready to go. So I need to make my horizon line. And I'm going to try to make it as far over to the left and as far over to the right as I can. And a yardstick would be a good idea, but I don't have one of those handy. So I'm just going to try to line that up as close as I can, and it's going to be fine. Okay. So for 2-point perspective, we need 2 points. Okay, 2 points. And I want to make one really far over here, and I'm going to make it as far as I can so that you can still see. And remember, this paper is going to be trash, so I want to make it nice and big so that both you can see it. And so, you know, we're going to throw it away. Don't want to make it too huge because we still need to line it up. Okay. Now, when we did 1-point perspective, we had our 1 point here and we drew a shape, right? And all of the lines that went to the point were diagonal, but everything else was vertical and horizontal. This is going to be a little bit different. Everything with 2-point perspective is going to be vertical, and most stuff is going to be diagonal. Okay, so this is going to look like we're going to be standing on the corner, maybe of like a sidewalk or a city street. So you're not going to draw a shape, you're going to draw a line. Okay, so that's going to be the corner of our building. Okay, both the top and the bottom go to both points. Okay, so I'm going to line up the bottom of my line with the first one, and I'm not going to go all the way to it. I'm just going to go as far as I want the building to go. So top and bottom to the left point. This is going to be vertical. Same line to the right point. I think I want to make it a little bit longer over here because that's my choice. Okay, and this is vertical. Okay. I'm going to erase those lines in between so that it doesn't look like we can see through our building. And there we go. All right. Anything that's on the left side of my building, windows, doors, signage, is going to go to this point. Anything that's on the right side of my building, windows, signage, doors, is going to go to this point. So we have automatically just like divided everything that way. So let's go ahead and make maybe a door. You're going to start with just one line for the left side of your door. The top of it is going to get lined up to the point on the right. And then the other side of the door is going to be vertical. Cool. I'm going to do a little bank of windows. Bottom part of the windows. top part of the windows. And finish off the rest of my verticals. Might need a little bit of cleanup work here, but that's okay. I'll try to sneak that in. There we go. Okay, that works. Okay, for signage, you're just going to decide how big you want it to be. So I want it to be about this big. So I'm going to draw really softly because I want to erase those lines. Okay. Where are we going today, friends? Let's say Barnes and Noble, because a bookstore would be really nice right now. Okay, and I'm going to erase those lines. Okay, so we're looking pretty good. And now we're ready to make some stuff down here. So let's go ahead and make a sidewalk. Okay. So I'm just going to drop down this line a little bit farther, straight down. Boop. Okay. That's going to be the dot for my sidewalk. Okay. There's one part of the sidewalk that's a little bit tricky, and that's the lines of the sidewalk. And we do need two sides to a sidewalk, of course. I'm going to go ahead and extend the rest of the bottom of the building. There we go. Okay. When you make the lines on this side, they're actually going to jump and go over here. When you make the lines on the left side, they're going to jump and line up with the dot on the right. I'll show you what I mean. And we might have to have a little bit something longer, but that's okay. I think I can aim it close enough. So if I would pretend that that would extend a little bit more. And I think that's really close. And the farther out that I go, the harder it's going to get, of course. So if you had something a little bit longer just for this part, it might be good. So keep going that way. And now I'll do the other side. This one over here. One more. Okay. Oops. I didn't even draw. I drew on my ruler. Okay. I don't want to get off too much. Okay. Awesome. I'm going to take the bottom of my sidewalk down just a little bit so that we can do a curb. Line up the dot to both points. For some of my friends, I've found that the 2-point perspective is actually easier to understand than the 1-point perspective, and I can kind of get that too. So we're going to drop down just vertical lines right here, right? Okay, so now it looks like you can step off that curb. I'm going to drop down one more dot. And everything is just in the same straight line. And this is going to be the lines that go down the middle of the road. And don't worry, you aren't standing in the middle of the road. You're standing across the street on another sidewalk. Going to drop it down one more time. Probably pretty far, because as it gets closer to us, remember, it's going to get a little bit bigger. So probably this is going to go off my page, so that we can make a dot down here too, for the other side of the street. There we go. We can do another sidewalk dot. And right now I'm drawing on my trash page, this page, but way down low. That's going off the camera just a little bit, I'm sorry to say. That's my sidewalk over here. And just like the sidewalk lines up here, you would do the same thing. These sidewalk lines on the left would go to the right-hand side. Right would go to the left-hand side. Okay. So what do you want to do if you want to do another building? Because this Barnes & Noble's looking pretty stinking lonely. Okay, you do the same thing. Draw the corner first. Okay. And then it's still going to go the same directions. Bottom and top, go to each dot. This is where a yardstick does come in handy. Oops, not quite on the dot. Finish it off with a vertical edge. Make sure you're not going through a building, unless your building is glass. And this could be a street that runs in between, like a little alley. If you've got a little part right here, of course we don't want to jump over the curb, so we would need to erase that part of the sidewalk. Okay, so let's kind of curve that out a little bit. When you have curves and things like that, sometimes they don't quite line up with either one of the points at the end. I need to make that a little bit wider so that it can go in between. There we go. Okay. But if you did have some more of those dotted lines going down the middle of the road, you can probably guess by now that the lines, since they crisscross like that, a lot like our sidewalk lines do, they're going to need to line up way over here. Okay. So my ruler was too short for me today. So how could I have avoided that? Well, for one thing, I probably could have had a smaller piece of paper. If I had had something half this size, turned it, and made my dots a little bit closer together on my trash paper, that would have been really handy. So sometimes when you draw, you get graphite, which is what pencils are, all over yourself and all over your hands. So it's good to have a pretty decent eraser so that you can go back every now and then and erase some things. Okay. Remember, with anything like a sun or a cloud, anything like that, it's not going to go to the 2 points on the end. Okay. All of those things are things that we find in nature, and it's not really going to happen like that. Okay. So let's just give this a little bit more interest. So maybe let's make an awning. So in case it rains, like it's been doing so much, people won't get wet. So there we go. All right, so I'm going to take the top and the bottom of the awning. Boop. Boop. There we go. We're going to try to make that come out a little bit. So I'm just really going to draw a bit of a rectangle, sorry, triangle. Whew, I've been out of school so long, I don't even know my shapes anymore. And I bet you, if we were to line that up, would that match? Just about. So I'm lining the bottom edge of this up on the point over there. It may not work out that way, but it sure looks like it did. And I'm gonna give this some stripes just for fun. Now, you might notice that I do have some diagonal lines, and before with the 1 point perspective, diagonal lines were a no-no unless you were going back to the vanishing point. And it's kind of a little bit different over here. It's okay. You're allowed to have some other diagonal lines. In fact, we have mostly diagonal lines because we have 2 vanishing points right now. Okay, let's do, I don't like that just sitting there. I'm gonna give that a pole. It's hanging down. And so that I know where to stop the other pole, I need to take the first one to the second vanishing point over here. I'm just gonna give it a little dot. Perfect. Okay. Just like before, if we were to do any kind of street lights, draw your first one. Nice and vertical. Okay. You just want to make sure that they're not laying down. If you want to give yourself a little bit more of a straight edge, it's always a good idea. I find anytime you're doing something like a cityscape, where you have man-made things, man-constructed things, it's a good idea to have a straight edge. Okay, so the good news here is the bottom of the street lamps line up with the sidewalk, so we don't have to do that because we've already got it. It's already there. But the top we definitely should. Draw this nice and soft. Zip. And that's where the rest of your street lamps are gonna go. Nice and vertical. Use your straight edge if you want to. And again, there is a mathematical equation for if you wanted them to look like they were equidistant, but we're just not gonna worry about that today. Oops, I'm not gonna draw one there because that would be in the middle of the alleyway. Somebody would run into it, that would be bad. Okay. I think this gives you a good starting point. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to post below or email me. And yeah, let me know if you've got any questions. Have a great day, y'all.